Hi, my name is Kathlika and welcome to New Wave's brand new IT project blog. I am a PMI certified project manager and I'm the primary author of the articles on New Wave's new IT blog site, so I'm really looking forward to getting comments and feedback from all of you as we grow the site. This is the first of a series of webinars on topics ranging from project management to business process management, service-oriented architecture, and more. I hope you enjoy it. Today's topic is on the 5 habits of a successful project manager. There are so many challenges faced by managers, especially in today's crazy economy where the way we manage our time and our resources has become increasingly important. Tip number 1. Don't be driven by reactive behavior. As a project manager, you are constantly bombarded with notifications, questions, and status requests from stakeholders, vendors, and other team members. Think of it this way. During an average workday, how many hours do you spend reading and responding to emails? Email communication, as most of us would agree, is by far the most time-consuming activity of all. A 2005 study by IDC, a market intelligence firm, noted that the typical worker spends about 14 and a half hours, that's nearly 40% of a 40-hour work week, mulling over and answering emails. Well, what's wrong with that? Well, if you spend all that time reacting to events, how much time are you really setting aside for proactive work and completion of project tasks? I find that I have the most productive days when I set aside about 2 or 3 hours for what I call airplane mode. Email notification off and cell phones off. You would be amazed at how many to-do items you will be able to cross off your action plan when you avoid spending time jumping from phone to internet to email, trying to address the messages you've received. Another plus is that once your quiet time is over, you'll be able to address several pressing emails all at once, reducing the time spent on this task even more. That's a win-win. Tip number 2. Categorize tasks as action, deferred, and reference items. Usually the tasks on your plan can be dropped into one of these 3 major buckets. The first and most important bucket is for action items. These are tasks that can be completed now and have measurable start and end points. Tasks in your action items bucket are good for making headway on while you're in airplane mode. Deferred items are usually discovered while thinking about or completing action items. The difference with deferred items is that they aren't immediately actionable. They should, however, be stored for review since they may be required later on. Identify a date when you'd like to revisit these and set yourself a notification so that you don't forget. The third and final bucket is for reference items. Email threads, project ideas, notes, all of these will pile up as the project progresses. You don't need to take any specific action on these items, but you do need to store them for safekeeping in case you need to refer to them in the future. Tip number 3. Hold meetings with purpose. In my experience, it is best to only meet when you have to. Holding a meeting, whether in person or via conference call, is extremely expensive in terms of project hours and cost. If there are no concrete action items that can be taken away from your meeting, then it probably should have been an email or a voice message. That means status meetings are completely unnecessary. Unless you, as project manager, are looking to drive an otherwise unproductive team member to action, or unless stakeholders or executives ask for a meeting, status can and should be communicated through email or through some central project management tool. When you do have a meeting with team members, vendors, stakeholders, or sponsors, make sure everyone is clear on the purpose. Going through the motions of actually putting together an agenda will help you to determine whether or not the meeting is even necessary. And when wrapping up the meeting, be sure to review the elements discussed and clearly recap all of the action items and their expected delivery dates. Everyone should leave the meeting with a clear understanding of what is expected. Tip number 4 is to define scope and assumptions. Define your project scope clearly and precisely as early as possible, and don't forget to get sign-off to make sure everyone is in agreement with the game plan. Anyone who has led or worked on a project has experiences with the headaches of scope changes. Of course, clarifications are to be expected and some are more foreseeable than others. The biggest problem is when what the deliverer thinks is out of scope is actually in scope for the requester. In order to avoid these pains, define assumptions along with your scope. They should all be documented and intermittently reviewed throughout the project lifecycle to make sure that the functionality and processes for delivery are still acceptable to the client. If possible, space deliverables out no more than 3 to 4 weeks to keep your team on track and to keep clients engaged. If scope or assumptions that were once true become false, change requests are in order. Don't forget to document these as well. Conduct a personal retrospective study. What exactly does this involve? With the passing of every year, most of us spend some time on reflection, making resolutions for change and revamping our lives and behaviors to make the next year even better. Why should project management be any different? Most projects encourage the collection of lesson learned documents so that future projects can draw on past ones for improvement. The same should be true for you. What project management tasks were you really good at? Were there any meetings or deliverables that you were proud of? What mistakes did you make? Answering those introspective questions can help you to improve in the future as you become a more effective manager of people, time, and tasks. So let's quickly recap the tips we've discussed. Number 1. Take the proactive road as opposed to a reactive one by carving out quiet or airplane mode time for yourself. Number 2. Categorize tasks as action items, deferred, or reference material. Number 3. Hold meetings that have purpose. Make sure to prepare an agenda and close out with clear action items. Number 4. Clearly define scope and assumptions to avoid stakeholder mix-ups. And number 5. During and after your projects, reflect on your wins and areas in which you could improve to become a better overall project manager. I hope these suggestions will help you in your current and future projects. Thanks for viewing this video blog post. For other great tips, go to www.newwave-tech.com/IT-project-blog. See you next time.